Hello and welcome to Admit One, episode 200, your weekly movie and TV podcast right here on Rabbit Hole Media. I am one of your hosts, Jack Netley Thompson, and as always and as usual, I am joined by my platonic husband, Crispin Lasham.
My sister has always called me Crispin.
Oh.
Are you my sister?
I think so. That might explain a lot.
It does explain a lot.
Does it? We're not from Alabama, though, so our evening activities can't be explained.
Oh, dear. Yeah, my sister's always called me Crispin. And, yeah. So now I miss my sister. Thanks for that.
You are welcome.
My sister recently, because she is currently she is a operations manager for the Crystal Maze live experience in London. And about a week or so ago, she texted me very excited because they had a VIP guest for the day who she had to look after. None other than Neil Patrick Harris.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
Cool. Apparently he's a very nice man.
Good, because that could have ruined everything. Anyway, we're here to talk about Black Panther, unfortunately, and released on the 13th of February 2018 with a budget of $200 million. So the budget went up.
Budget did go up.
And a worldwide gross, and this is probably why, because they knew this would happen,
yes,
of $1,349,926,083.
That profit margin is mental.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
It's
mental. Is $1.1 billion profit.
But the percentage of that margin as well.
Yeah. Bearing in mind, this budget probably doesn't include marketing.
For sure, but still.
Which... Normally,
I appreciate there's also many dollar, but
they never say how much marketing is. But the industry standard is they give you the budget that's for the film, double it, and then you've got including marketing, so $400 million. Even so, that's $900 million profit. Just
that's like 200 and something % margin, and that's insane.
Indeed.
Just making some notes here. What episode number was this?
Yeah, no one acknowledged it. I was pretty ridiculous, to be honest. So, fuck you all. Let's just continue to talk about this this movie. What did you think of Black Panther?
It's all right.
I agree. This has been...
have firmly said since this film came out, and many people don't like me for this, this is one of the most overrated films of all time.
I agree.
And I respect that it is culturally very important, and I think also very good for everything it does in that regard.
I agree.
Doesn't change the fact, though, that the film
final
itself
product
is nothing more than okay.
Yeah, it is probably like... If dictionaries were...
Hannah, this is episode 200. Carry on.
If dictionaries were picture books, Fine would have this next to it. This is the definition of...
It's one of those things...
There's nothing wrong with it.
No, nothing's particularly bad, but nothing's particularly outstanding either. There's some good action moments. There's some great bits of cinematography. Like, I think the audio design's really good. I really like the music. I think the visual design of it's very good. I think Killmonger is one of the better villains.
I do think he's an idiot, though.
He's an idiot?
Yeah. I think he would have worked better as a villain if they didn't big him up to be so insanely clever and working in the thing. But...
Hannah gets it.
Yeah. Excellent. But, and then this is his approach to solve the problem.
Yeah.
I was like, between that training and now, did you hit your head? Because that is the most idiotic approach to take to this. But anyway, it's one of the best acted villains, though.
Yes,
for sure.
yes. But otherwise, I think the film is mostly... You're going to hate me for saying this. Boring.
I agree.
It's boring. It's so
Good
slow.
Lord, yeah.
Not much happens for a big chunk of it. It does the.
So do you know how I watched this movie? I watched the fight scenes and then I fast forwarded to the next fight scene
That's fair.
because I was just like, "You're talking guff."
It does two. It does two of the major superhero movie cardinal sins. We bring these up a lot. First of all, is the villain you're fighting at the end is basically the same character.
Yep.
Uninteresting. And for a big chunk in the middle of the movie, they take the protagonist away.
Yep.
Stop doing this stuff. Stop doing this. So yeah, there's those issues, and that's a shame. That's a real shame.
Sin trying to make you think that the main character's dead.
Dead, yeah, when clearly isn't.
Waste of time.
Yeah.
But obviously, you could argue that's still the second cardinal sin. But the cardinal sin is taking the thing away, and then a separate cardinal sin is the method in which they took it away.
Yes.
So it's so I agree. Yeah.
I also think this film has, at least for me, and it might be that I just wasn't the target audience for it, but there's like no.
I mean, no, you weren't the target audience for it.
No, but for this particular thing, is like none of the humor in this film hits for me, and there's actually a lot of there's not actually much humor, and the few gags that are in it doesn't quite work. Doesn't work at all. Like the stuff where Shuri is walking in through her office like Q from James Bond and showing all the gadgets, all of the joke dialogue in that. Yeah.
Obviously, they wrote that in when that was a thing, but that was like 2 years too late.
Also, wasn't funny then.
Yes, I know, but that's
I
why
remember
you
when I
can't
saw
write
this in the
memes.
cinema.
You can't write memes into movies.
I remember when I saw this at the cinema, and she said that, and my eyes rolled so hard.
I fell out my chair.
Yeah.
My eyes dragged me away, and I fell out my chair.
So, yeah, a lot of that doesn't work, which is a shame because of the films we've had prior to this. The last few MCU movies prior to this were really nailing the humour down, particularly Ragnarok. And I know not every film has to have the exact same tone, and it doesn't need to have the same tone, but I think finding that balance of all the right elements is still really important. I don't think this film did that.
No, I agree. Rich says the soundtrack music in the film is great. I agree that the sound and the score is excellent, but I don't like Kendrick Lamar, and this entire soundtrack was done by Kendrick Lamar, and I was just like...
That's fair.
Stop.
I actually really do like the music in this.
I really like the score.
Yeah, no, I get you.
So all that. So the Black Panther theme, the Wakanda theme,
and the way
theme,
it's used,
and how it's used, and the in the club, like the chanting in the background. I was like, oh, this is fucking sick. This is fucking sick. Now that the Weeknd has shut his face, we can get something cool.
There's a really, I think it's part of Killmonger's theme. There's this really nice string arrangement. There's a little string motif melody. I think it's Killmonger's theme, which I'm a really big fan of.
What? So what? This isn't the time to be fucking doing this.
Between Avengers and Iron Man 3, you jump from 172 to 179, unless I've missed a trick. That would be a major jump for us to make.
We did it though.
How the fuck did we do that?
I don't know. That would have been you.
At some point, we need to count all the episodes again.
I'm not doing that. I'm just...
I'll do it. Because if it gives us an extra month or two's grace on episode 206...
Yeah, I mean, no one watches anyway. So is there any point in doing anything?
No.
No.
No, there is not. Yeah, there is some good music stuff. I do think this film looks really nice as well.
Yeah.
I think
this is the first movie where they forgot the budget.
Go on.
I mean, the final end scene, garbage. Looks like crap.
Which scene? Give me
the Killmonger and T'Challa fight.
Oh, on the magnet train thing. Fair.
Worst effects in the
I'll
MCU.
give you that.
10 years in is fucking awful.
I'll give you that one.
I think a lot of the green screen in Wakanda, so just green screening Wakanda in, abysmal.
Oh, I didn't notice anything.
And some of his hand, Claw's hand, was just weird.
Claw's
hand, yeah.
I know.
It was just weird. It's weird. I do think they...
I was more complimenting just the visual design than the execution of CG, the art design, if you like. I really like the way Wakanda looks. And I said to you on Thursday that I think this film has one of the best uses of an aspect ratio change.
And the worst, yes.
Buckle in for an aspect ratio rant. Because I was watching this in IMAX. And when they fly into Wakanda for the first time, the shot starts in an ultra-wide letterbox aspect ratio, and it actually gradually reveals to the full screen. It doesn't just cut. It does a nice gradual reveal, which means it was a more conscious decision, and it's used artistically, and then I like it. I think it's good when it's used in that way. So I enjoyed that. But then immediately in the next sequence, when they were landed on Wakanda and they were having a conversation, there is literally one, maybe two shots mid-conversation, which is suddenly in their ultra-wide aspect ratio again. And it's so jarring because it's literally a shot on... It's like a shot on Black Panther, which is ultra-wide, and then the camera cuts to Shuri, and it's ultra-wide, and then the camera cuts back to Black Panther, and it's ultra-wide, and then it cuts back to Shuri, and it's suddenly letterbox, and then it goes back to Black Panther, and it's ultra-wide again.
Letterbox is ultra wide, isn't it?
Yeah, sorry.
Full screen, full screen.
Full screen. Yes.
For no reason.
It was weird. It was just weird. That, whether you like aspect ratios or not, or care about it or not, that's obnoxious.
I think it is obnoxious, and people mock us, but that's because, like, clearly this is why this problem is still happening, because everyone other than us is on the same idiot wavelength. Because, like, why is this appealing? Why are we still watching letterbox movies? TVs have never been that shape.
No.
Not even once. You can get an ultra-wide monitor, if you want, for PCs, which is also fucking stupid because games have never been in that aspect ratio. So whoever does that is a fucking criminal. Why are people so thick? That's what I want to know.
I mean...
Thick as pig shit.
I clearly have zero ability to count episodes, so...
Well, yeah, so why are you... No, I'm kidding. I've never noticed. I've gone through and looked at these things multiple times. I don't care.
I also don't care about very much at this point.
Like, I'm happy to just continue with 206 as it is. Who's going to care? Or who's even going to look other than Hannah?
My maths isn't quite right. Potentially, I'm not entirely sure how that maths works because I'm really bad. Based off how many films I've jumped, by the time we do episode 206, it might actually be episode 200. Maybe 199.
So it's 6 weeks. It's a month and a half.
I'll work it out. I'll go for it.
Beginning of June.
Fix it.
But, yeah. It's about 6 weeks.
I'll fix it. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
7 weeks, which would be around my birthday. Should be around my birthday for episode 200. I will not be in here on my birthday.
That's fine. That's fine. Anyway, yeah. Aspect ratio pissed me off in this movie.
Yep, I agree. I'm happy to just talk about that for the rest of it.
Well, like, I know you said that there were some CG problems, and I didn't know it was really any of them, but that's fine. My compliment more on the visuals was just the design of it. I think Wakanda looked really good. I thought the use of colors in this was really, really good. It was visually a very interesting film to look at, and I applaud it for that. Yes, I do. I applaud it for that quite a lot.
This is fair.
My next complaint, and I wasn't going to talk about this because I realize people will probably absolutely hate me for this. And I don't mean this in any ill of Chadwick Boseman whatsoever, but I do feel, and I've said this before, that T'Challa is not the most interesting character in this movie.
He's probably the least interesting character in this movie, other than Everett Ross.
Yeah, don't get me started on him.
Let's be honest, this entire franchise should be about M'Baku.
Yes, I was about to say he's far more interesting. He's far more interesting and far more compelling to watch. And that's nothing against Chadwick Boseman. That's not Chadwick Boseman's fault.
No, it's the character
writing.
the writing.
Yeah, I've got nothing on Chad. I think Chadwick Boseman is generally very, very brilliant. I think he was brilliant. Genuinely believe that. But the character is not that interesting or compelling.
No, I agree.
Neither is Shuri. This was my complaint with Wakanda Forever.
Yep, yeah, I agree.
I think actually when we watched Wakanda Forever, I said the
We
same
said-
thing. I'm more interested in M'Baku.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
both agreed that M'Baku should have become Black Panther.
Yeah.
That was pretty much our thing because Shuri didn't want it, and she's also uninteresting, and also she's an idiot anti-vaxxer, so I don't want to get him paid that much.
Or any much. M'Baku has a character arc, and T'Challa doesn't really have a character arc in this, really.
It goes from being a traditionalist to seeing that everything that they've been doing is wrong.
But only in a sense of it's not a massive character swerve. Like it's not. M'Baku has a big.
in individual movies, most of their character arcs.
No,
aren't
no.
massive.
But all I meant was I would argue M'Baku has a bigger character development in this movie.
Yeah.
Because he goes from this complete and almost anti-government, anti-country. I don't believe of any of this. I don't want to be involved in any of this. I think I disagree with it all. I'm going to challenge you for the throne. Do it my way. Like, no. Whatever. To by the end of it, you know what? We can work together. I believe we can make something that's going to work. Like a complete change of character from who he was at the beginning.
That's because T'Challa saved his life.
Yeah, no, of course. But I just think that's a bigger, more interesting.
I
character development.
agree. But this is where we start seeing the inklings of Marvel losing their way here. Around this general period.
Yep.
Having no idea what to do with characters. To the point where they took the Warriors 3 from Thor and just fucking immediately murdered them in Ragnarok, and start to dance with Sony and making idiot decisions that don't make any sense for the rest of the MCU. In the Spider-Man movies, here there's just like, what do we do with this incredible character? I know that's drastically reduced his screen time going forward. Yay. But it's fine because Infinity War's next week.
Indeed. One thing I do think this film does well, though, I think it does a good job of telling its own independent story, which is something each week we say this. It's important for these movies to be self-contained and have their own story while still being able to progress the larger picture. I think this film still does that. I think it's able to do its own story while still progressing the larger universe just by the things that happen on the side. Like Wakanda is now introduced into that universe and what that means for the universe going forward. And really that's all it is. It's the introduction of Wakanda into that universe and then what that means for the rest of the stuff. And that's something, again, I think they've completely forgotten how to do in the current stuff. If we look at Phase 4, nearly every one of those movies are completely self-contained without expanding anything in any way, and that's always been my complaint. And we've had not arguments, but discussions about this on the show before, and some people say, oh, it doesn't have to expand, it doesn't have to be relevant, and it's like, it doesn't have to be direct, but seeing how what happens in this movie can have an effect elsewhere, the things that happen on the wayside in this movie having an effect elsewhere.
Well, yeah, it's not being a direct addition to the story. It's going, this exists in this world. I wonder how this plays into effect, which is why the good ones of Phase 4, Shang-Chi, for example.
Well, you see, I think Shang-Chi doesn't do much.
It does the exact same thing that Black Panther does. Introducing a whole new part of the world and a new...
No, but within Black Panther, it's not just introducing it to the audience, they're introducing it to the world. Like, by the end of that movie, it's Wakanda are opening its border or opening the gates to, we're going to help, we're going to put an outreach program. We are now bringing our technology and our knowledge into this universe and into this world and expanding it out further into the actual in-world or in-universe world, if you like. Whereas Shang-Chi sets it up for the audience, but it doesn't really do anything other than the post-credit scene we get with, spoilers for Shang-Chi, with Banner and Doodad.
See, for me, that doesn't make a difference. That changes nothing. Because literally, the only difference there was you had a line at the very end that led to nothing of T'Challa going, we're going to open an outreach program. That was it. And then a wink and a nod to the camera. That's all that happened.
Well, no, because there's also the scene before that where he takes Shuri to that building and explains what he's going to do. I've bought this building. We're going to start doing this. Yeah. There's a lot of that, and he shows the ship. And we also, from that, and I think this is where it becomes different, is in the films later on, we do see evidence of that happening.
Well,
like,
yes,
we now know that's a thing. Whereas, obviously, at this point, we're way past this. By the same amount of content, we're way past Shang-Chi than what we were Black Panther at the time that we were seeing Wakanda having an effect on the universe without seeing what any of that comes to.
I don't think that's true.
But it is, because Phase 4 has been longer than any of the rest of the phases put together.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess that's if you count TV shows and shit. Yeah, okay, fair.
Which I do. I know we're not doing that in this review, but they're still part of the universe and part of that storytelling.
Yeah,
so,
fair. We're just going to have to agree to disagree on that one, I think, as a non.
On what factor?
I don't think, for me, just personally, for what I'm looking for, the fact that they said in World that they've expanded on it makes no difference to it just being introduced to the audience on whether or not it's expanding the story, because we're the ones receiving the story.
See, this is me. What I'm saying here, though, is, and that's fine, but what my point is nothing more than I think it's a more beneficial expansion when you watch the next films or you see some of the next films and you can see that development. You can see that because
I think we
we've
will,
had
but
this,
I mean, yeah, I think we will. From Shang-Chi.
I think we will as well. Point is, we yet haven't, whereas this did it almost immediately. That's my praise, is that they managed to make that work immediately and make it fit and make it, when watching it, feel like it had progressed. Shang-Chi isn't the best counter, because I do think out of all the ones in Phase 4, it's one of the better ones to do it. I don't think it does it as well as this, but I do think it's one of the better ones to do it.
So when you say...
I'd say the Eternals is probably a better example of one that sets up loads of stuff that, in terms of the rest of the content we've seen, you wouldn't know Eternals existed.
No, they completely ignored it.
Completely ignored
stupid.
all of it. And that's a problem. Like, they've attempted to expand it. Sure, the audience know about it, but no one in the world seems to know about anything to do with it. Like, we have never come across anything even closely related to the Eternals again. That then is a failure to expand.
No, I agree. When you say we saw Black Panther have an effect immediately, do you mean just within the movie of what those are scenes at the end? Because otherwise we don't see it really until Wakanda Forever.
Infinity War.
Infinity War. Okay, but that's just because that's where they were. Like,
for sure, but there's definitely evidence within. I'd say there's evidence within that movie, from what I remember anyway, of that being more people know about Wakanda. Like, they all know about Wakanda now. Like, at least at the beginning of when they're talking about it, they all know about it. Whereas obviously up this movie, starts and no one knows what Wakanda is. No one knows the truth of Wakanda.
Well, the only reason they know about it is because Cap knows about it, and he's known about it since Civil War. Because Cap brings them. He's like, I know a place that has this tech.
That is true. Yeah, I'll give you that.
Banner didn't know about it.
No, that's true.
And
Banner's been off well, to be fair.
And everyone's known about it since Age of Ultron.
Yes, but they've not known.
They've not known to an extent, but they've known that it exists, and so it's only Cap that knows.
Yeah. Cap. Was it Ross? But he's not in that movie. I was just thinking through it.
Fair enough. Ross.
Either which way, though, I think even by the time you hit, as you go through it, like, the point is, it just feels like that the universe has been expanded upon. Whereas some of the later ones, and I do think Eternals is the best example because of it does both the biggest thing whilst doing absolutely nothing at the same time.
I was using Shang-Chi as a counter argument, not.
No, I know.
So obviously, in terms of an agreement, the Eternals is the example of that because it's just shocking all around.
Next week's film is Infinity War. That's correct.
No one listens to me, do they?
What, you said it earlier?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
No, you're right. I can't remember now.
Infinity War's the movie next week.
It is.
Oh, I got a cramp in my footsie. Oh, that's one of the worst places you can get cramp.
False. The jaw.
No, that cramp you get down the side of your foot.
Yeah, I find that's the easiest to get rid of.
You've got magic feet.
Just bend my toes back.
And that is the only time that anyone refer to the Eternals as being the best example of any.
It's the best example of sex in the MCU. Do you remember that? That being a weird thing that they kept gloating that it's the first sex scene in the MCU.
Yeah.
I was like, could that possibly mean we don't need one?
It was
If we've
also, from what I
gotten this
remember
far,
of that,
shit.
yeah, it was like a vaguely implied sex scene more than anything, wasn't it?
Yeah, which you could argue...
It was the implication of sex, which I'd argue has existed.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, in Iron Man 1. Here we are. Still haven't watched, still don't care. Fair enough.
It's not a bad movie. We'll get to that in a couple of weeks. But it definitely doesn't progress anything. But that's a conversation for another day.
That sounds like Phase 4.
But yes, but that's kind of what
again.
that's kind of my point. Like most of Phase 4 doesn't feel like how it achieves it is almost irrelevant. It doesn't feel like it's progressing anything. Whereas this, I still feel like the world and the universe is progressing. Whether or not that's because they've told us or told the characters in the film, whatever, I come away from this feeling like things have progressed, even though the story wasn't about the Infinity Stones. It wasn't about the Infinity Saga at all.
Nope.
No mention of Thanos. No mention of any of that.
Most of them aren't, to be fair.
No, but they still feel like they progressed towards it. And I think that's where the current MCU has really struggled, is watching through all of these movies so far, whichever number we're on, like 18 or something stupid. Like, so many of them have been detached from one another and in many ways not in any way relevant to the Infinity Saga plot, yet are all relevant. They do progress it in one way or another. There is something somewhere which progresses to what we get to with the end of and the culmination of the Infinity Saga. Whereas that is now what I think is lacking. Is that, and I think that's because they didn't have a name at first. They didn't know what route they were going to go down.
I don't think they do.
No, I don't think they're.
It doesn't
entirely
help
sure.
that they finally fucking nailed it down
Yeah.
on where their route was going, and then their route got arrested.
Yes,
That
not
doesn't
help
help.
at all. So,
So
and that's where I think it suffered so much, because however minor the expansion is, this does continue to expand and progress the larger overall universal story, and that I think is really good.
just make it the M'Baku Cinematic Universe. I'm okay with that.
I'd be
And you
okay
don't
with
even have to change the acronym.
You don't at all.
Indeed. Eternal, really weird thing. Eternals reference Superman. I'm just surprised they got away with it.
I remember that being a talking point that we had back when it came out.
Yeah.
They got away with that.
Feels like they were so secretive about Endgame that no one knew what they were doing in Phase 4, and it all got a bit bitty. I just think they completely lost their way to the point where the person running most things got fired.
Yeah, I think like 2 or 3 Marvel execs have been sacked off by Kevin Feige, haven't they, in the recent months?
Probably not by Kevin Feige, but
I'm sure one of them, I read the headline, one of them was that Kevin Feige had laid them off.
oh, fair enough.
But I might have made
Maybe.
that up. Also, headlines mean nothing because most news reporters don't know their shit.
Most articles are like, why is this a thing?
Yeah.
I saw something about like there was a news article on an actual news website for a newspaper about some form of shape someone had in a baked potato. Who's gone? I need to call the news. My baked potato looks like fucking. Why can't it? Gandhi. There we go.
Bob Iger runs Disney. I don't know if he would have been dealing with this directly in that, but maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, he then technically runs Marvel.
Yeah, no. I mean, I don't know if he would have. If he would have been the one to come in and say, "Hey, you do this," so much as he would have gone, "Kevin, fix it," and then Kevin would have been the one to go, "This is the problem. I shall remove them." But I don't know that. Also, you know how I was in Disneyland Paris like a month or so ago? Mm-hmm. Literally, like 3 days after we got back, Bob Iger was there, just wandering about.
Cool. I wouldn't have even noticed him. I don't know what he looks like.
He looks like Bob Iger.
Excellent. Thank you for that revelatory information.
You are welcome.
What would you score this movie?
Oh, yeah, we should do that. Hang on, let me write down where we're at in the numbering. Right, what would I score this movie? I mean, based off what I said at the beginning, 6.
Yeah. I kind of agree.
Just thinking about it. Because I don't know if it is as bad as a 6.
And Baku gets a 10.
Just like... I don't know if it is as bad as a 6. We've given other movies that are worse than this a 6. I know. I just feel like we've given other movies in this franchise that are worse than this a 6. So 6 feels like it's harsh. But no, I agree. 6, done.
As we said at the very beginning,
it's fine.
It is the dictionary definition of fine.
Yeah.
This movie. I wouldn't call it good. I wouldn't call it bad. It's fine.
Basically, the reason I decided that 6 is the correct thing is as I scrolled through that thing, I saw we gave both Captain America 1 and Guardians of the Galaxy 1 a 6. And then as I thought about it, I was like,
Guardians 1 we gave a 6. That seems unlikely.
What did I see? Oh, no, Guardians. It'll be Guardians 2.
Yeah. Guardians 2. 6,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Anyway, that felt about right. So I was like, yeah, 6 feels right.
Let's rank this movie.
Hannah says that feels outrageously low. And then, what was it? 7. So 1 above it. Like, fine. I get you like it. And that's fine. I don't think, like, it's the other thing. Like, I do think this film did a lot of really good stuff. And from the cultural point of view. And by the way, I think that's an important thing to consider is that there is a lot of hype about this movie. Huge amount of hype about this movie, which is primarily spawned from what it did culturally. And I agree that all of that stuff is really important. And I think I did a really good job with all of that. But that doesn't make it itself a good movie or a perfect movie or this. That doesn't necessarily warrant the hype from a how good is the movie point of view. And that's the way I will look at it.
For sure.
I'm looking at it critically, not emotionally.
No, yeah.
Although there's an element of, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I get you. I do think that the sequel is significantly better.
I don't. I've only watched. It's the only one I've not rewatched.
Yeah, I haven't watched it, but it wasn't because of I don't want to watch this. I don't have 4 days.
It's more that I know we're going to be doing it.
Oh yeah. There's
Anyway,
that as well.
so
yeah.
I'll just wait.
There is that as well.
Did we do an episode on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did, didn't we?
We just didn't bother with Quantumania.
Yeah, cool.
Because I couldn't be bothered. Oh no, you didn't watch it, did you? You did watch it.
I've seen Quantumania.
Oh, yeah.
I went on
I can't remember why we didn't do it.
It's the first time I've been to a Marvel movie on the day it came out for ages, and we didn't even do a show on it.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about the Dora Milaje. They are cool as fuck. They are cool.
Well, hang on, let's quickly just do that. So I thought Killmonger was a believable villain. We made a complaint about Killmonger that he maybe was stupid, but I do agree he's a believable villain.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed his motivations. The whole thing could have been avoided in a number of ways. Because I reckon if he had turned up, even with dead Claw, and gone, hi, I'm this person.
Don't come in with such aggression.
Yeah. That he came in starting a fight. He wanted to fight. He did want to fight. But I feel like if he had come in not wanting a fight and just been like, hey.
People would have let their guard down.
Yeah.
And still...
And maybe, I think also would open the possibility for T'Challa to go. Because as soon as he learns, like he doesn't even know who that guy is yet. He sees him and straight away is like,
he
what
doesn't
the
try
fuck?
and sort the problem. And also, like, all the people you're angry at, dead.
Dead, yeah. Except for the one that you killed. But otherwise dead. Because if he kills Forrest Whitaker. But
also, he
didn't actually do anything. No, that's true. That's true.
He came in way too hot. As Hannah just put, he came in hot. That's why it's in my head. I would never say that as an expression.
But like, T'Challa, as soon as T'Challa sees him with the ring, as soon as he gets back, he goes straight to Forrest Whitaker's character and he's like, "Who the fuck was that guy? What is going on?"
And then tries to fix the problem.
As soon as he's told, he's like, "That should not have happened. Why has this happened?" So, I reckon, given the opportunity, if the guy hadn't come in so hot, could have dealt with it. But then I also argue, why did T'Challa sit? When the first time he meets him, he's like, "I know who you are." And then it's like, and I'll just start arguing with him. He's like, fine, I accept the challenge. Why? I would have been like, right, hang on. Let's just talk. I've literally just found out about this morning. I didn't even know you existed. I literally have only just found out about you today, and I've just been told what happened, and fucking hell is it shit. And I would have never let that happen.
Also,
you're welcome here. Let's bring you in. Let's like...
Is there not a rule about randomly killing the host of the challenge?
Yeah, like, I feel like...
Void.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Void. Armies, come down. on this planet. You're powerful. You're not army. You're not an army. So, like, I kind of feel like you can respond a bit better when it's, I'll have you both, Uncle James. That's a particularly strange thing to say, I think. But yeah, and then just no one reacting. Just going, no! I don't know. Use your entire countries of highly advanced forces, your indestructible spit. We've seen many times what these spears can do. So I would advise mayhaps lobbing one at his head.
Yeah, I think that as soon as the point where he kills Forrest Whitaker, the rules of ritual combat are out the window. I agree.
Yeah. I feel like in any culture, and obviously this isn't a real culture, but in any culture, if there's some form of ritual combat, you can't just kill other people in the middle of it. Yeah. In a duel, in a pistol duel, you can't just shoot someone else and be like, yeah, that's fine. Why isn't pistol dueling a thing anymore?
Because murder is illegal.
Yeah, but...
And so are guns, except for in America.
I was going to say...
And then they're like sweets.
Yeah,
you can just get them.
Know. You can just get them at Walmart. Everyone ages 6 and up. But I think it would solve a lot of altercations.
Yeah,
and murder wouldn't be a thing. It would be. But, like...
murder wouldn't be a factor in a duel. Because a duel.
No, yeah, exactly.
I understand.
But also, like... A lot of murders wouldn't take place, and there'll be less burden on the penal system.
Oh,
because like some of the murders, like I don't like that guy, slept with my wife or whatever it may be, and that leads you to murder. But if you can crack out a white glove, slap someone across the cheeks with it, and be like, Dawn. I would be late. But Dawn, we're gonna shoot at each other. Would have to be with the like flintlocks. We're not savages with fucking AR-15s.
Hannah says also T'Challa landing on his back from that fall would have broken his back and probably died. Now he almost did die, but they put him in snow, and as everyone knows, snow stops you dying.
Yeah, but this is also movies where water is soft, regardless of where you fall on it. I did like the one bit that I thought was quite good, nonsense, but quite cool in the Assassin's Creed movie is when he throws the knife down to try and break the surface tension of the water. I was like, you're still dead, but
and now you're landing on a knife.
I like the idea that you've thought about it. You've just come up with a stupid solution. But hey, anyway, I'm not done. Then, so you could just be like, you would have, instead of being like murder, but Dawn, meat, pew pew, or pew, pew.
Yeah.
And then, cool, go about your day. You have either succeeded in taking out the problem you have a person you have a problem with, or they have taken you out. No legal quandaries. A fully sanctioned duel.
And either way, your problem's solved.
Exactly. Yeah. I just think that should be better.
Hannah says, when I lived in Magaluf, someone went cliff diving, landed awkwardly, broke his back, had to get the airlift out, was paralysed. What they should have done was wrap him in snow.
Yeah.
Just bury him in snow.
I thought he was in the snow for the stabby wound. Well, he was, because he didn't actually break his back. And then, but he wasn't really better though until they gave him the herb.
The magic leaf, yeah.
Yeah, the
purple marijuana.
I don't think you should ever drink anything that's that glowy.
It was viscous as well.
Yeah, that's more like a.
I understand why
not
they're
enough ice
retching
cream
after
in a
they've
milkshake.
taken it.
Yeah. What it's also a fucking flour. I reckon
tea.
Yeah, I know, but that wasn't made like tea, was it? Literally, all they did was just mush it.
Yeah.
They didn't seem to add anything to it. But anyway, should we rank this movie now?
Let's do the ranking.
Because I want to play Resident Evil.
Where would you ranking so far?
Number 1, Civil War. Number 2, Winter Soldier. Number 3, Ragnarok. Number 4, Ultron. Number 5, Avengers. Number 6, Homecoming. 7, Iron Man 3. 8, Guardians of the Galaxy. 9, Iron Man. 10, Ant-Man. 11, Doctor Strange. 12, Thor. 13, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. 14, Iron Man 2. 15, Captain America the First Avenger. 29, Hulk. And 30, Thor 2.
It's in that middle area.
10, 11, or 12. Or 13.
Doctor Strange is definitely better than this, I think.
Okay, 12.
So 12. Is Thor better than this?
Nah. No, I don't think so.
12 then.
Cool.
Because I'm okay with that.
10. Nah.
No, Doctor Strange is definitely better than this. I think Ant-Man's better than this as well. They're just more entertaining movies. I think my biggest complaint in this movie is mostly boring. Yeah. Not much happens for a big chunk of it. It's slow.
I agree. I definitely prefer it. I prefer it to Thor, I think.
This Thor's also mostly boring.
Yes. And I quite like Doctor Strange. I quite like Ant-Man. So
12 then.
12.
All right.
Cool.
I can agree with that.
Cool.
Wonderful.
Wunderbar. Coming up on the channel. Immediately after this, we will have to be ending the stream because of how technology works, but we will be...
or in this case, how technology doesn't work.
Well, yes. But we will be playing Resident Evil 4 once more. Continuing our journey with lots of poo, probably. I'm sure there'll be poo. Many poos. Next Friday, Gaming with Daddy will return with another round of Fortnite. We like Fortnite now. That's a problem. It's a problem. Can you just send... We can. Sure thing. We can send out a thing on Discord to say we go live. We just assumed you would get a Twitch notification. To be
yeah, that was my assumption. You'd get a Twitch notification.
But if you don't, absolutely fine. We can do the Discord, and then of course next Saturday. Let's be honest, what will end up in number 1 for the rest of everything, Infinity War.
You think that will stay number 1?
Yeah, without any question.
I think you're probably right. I was sort of wondering whether or not Endgame would nip it, but yeah, I think you're right.
There's too much in Endgame that needs to go.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Mm-hmm. Like the entire middle.
Yeah, there's a bunch of things in Endgame. There are a bunch of things in Endgame which I actively don't like.
Yeah,
despite there being some absolute insanity, incredible stuff.
I also think Infinity War is better on its own than Endgame. Endgame is as good as it is because of the other 29 movies.
I can't think of anything in Infinity War I don't like about
No, it's all perfect.
Yeah. So I think you're right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's not only the best movie in the MCU, it's one of the best movies ever made.
Well, we'll talk about that more
Indeed. Next week. But anyway, thank you very much for joining. We shall drop a message in the Discord when we are returning for Resident Evil. And until next time, we shall see you then.
Bye now.
Bye.